Tuition loan 25%, tuition household contribution 5%, band 2 60, 30 and 10. Also we have band 3 50, 30 and 20, band 4 40, 30, 30 and band 5 30, 30, 40. Also on the sidebar, Korea-Africa Summit charts the path to a successful continent. South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol yesterday made pledges to an audience of 25 African heads of state and government, among them Kenya's President William Ruto, promising to double official development aid to Africa to $10 billion by 2030. And the rest of the details is tucked away on page 14 of the Daily Nation today. Tribute goes to Jambi Koikai, gone, not forgotten. Jalav as Jambi takes her final bow. Popular radio and television host Jambi Koikai, also known as Jambi or Fair Muma to her fans, has passed on, aged 38. She underwent 21 surgeries to cure endometriosis over the years, and you have a story on page 3 of the publication today. This is how it looks, but we can also see what the teaser is holding for us on top here. Charlene steps on toes with shoe drive for schools. Two Kitui MPs criticized the initiative by the president's daughter to gift pupils from needy families with shoes and reject tax bill. More than 500 groups, banks, tells MPs, and more on. That is more story there on the back page of the Daily Nation. Man accused of beating up officers charged with violent robbery. That is on page 3 of the publication this morning. All right, the Star is up next. Counties blow 146 billion shillings on pay. Projects suffer. Only one has spent 50% and above of its development budget in 9 months. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star today. Wrong priorities. Devolved units have spent a paltry 45 billion shillings on development. Only one has spent 50% and above of its development budget in 9 months. This story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Star today. Eric Omondi, Mama Mboga takes their displeasure to MP's door, and you have a story there inside the publication today. Frustrated, Mama Mboga demonstrates outside Parliament yesterday. Comedian Eric Omondi arrested by Parliament police during a demonstration yesterday. This story on page 2 of the publication today. Medicine or plain chalk? Farms warn of bogus drugs. They're counterfeits there. This is on page 2. And swollen Lake Naivasha drives over 5,000 people from homes. State House, Ruto's office, big spenders on hospitality. That is on page 6. What austerity is asking here. On top, students who assaulted cop denies robbery with violence. That story on page 3 of the Star today. People Daily, how varsity students' loans will be shared. That is what we have as the splash today. And tuition. State revises the mode in which money for higher education will be administered, with learners from low-income families set to be beneficiaries. You have a story on page 6. And shocking brutality at British camp. That is on page 8. Teenager in police incident charged with robbery on page 7 of the publication today. Shame of counties who are spending on growth. You can follow the story inside the publication today. Meet top Kenyan fans in Formula 1 craze on page 3 of the People Daily. Aliyemlima polisi ajua hajui. That is the story that you want to follow on Inside Taifa Leo. You can follow that story. And all right, I think I read you. This is the wrong publication of the Business Daily. I'll give you the right publication, which is, of course, current. That is the yesterday's business publication. But in Uganda, all right, this is what is there as well. I'll be also running you by what we have there. I don't know what the mix-up is here with the system. But for now, I just want to introduce Ken Obongi, who is here, and will be joined also much later by Peter Kaganja. But before we head there, I can show you the editorial cartoons. This is what Victor Dulo has drawn inside the Daily Nation today. Africa Summit and which way to go. Russia, Korea, France, USA. This is where Africa is looking every which way with a pail in hand, as you can see there depicted by Victor Dulo. Also, end of an era. That is end of a champion as well. Jambi Koikai, 1986-2024. The journalist who passed away, paying tribute to her as well. His games in today's Standard. And finance bill continues, of course, to stoke a lot of debate in the country, as you can see it here. And also the kingpin of Mount Kenya, as it were, crowned there by Ozone. This is Inside the Start today. All right, how will this really pan out now with a divided UDA? That is what everyone is asking. And also, in the People Daily today, be strong, there is hope. And this is Mount Kenya politicians right now. And of course, on the back of Wanjeko right now, development has taken a back banner right now, so to speak, or the backstage. And what is now coming to the public gallery is all about 2027 politics and 2032 succession. You can follow the story also, or you can look at this editorial cartoon inside the People Daily this morning. All right, let me just introduce Ken Ombongi, who is here with us. The guest will join us from 6:30. I can see a text from Peter Kagwanji as well. Good morning, good to see you.
Morning, people. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay, we are also well. Here a little bit late, Kidogo today. Also, I think there was a mess in traffic on the way. But nevertheless, we are here. Yes.
So a lot we have on our plates today, because we shall be looking at the latest development in South Africa, as it were, with the elections that has just been concluded, and the possibility of a coalition government. Also, Mexico's first. We have a female president who has been elected there for the first time. We can doggedly follow also what is happening with South Korea, that is Korea-Africa Summit, with the goodies, as they put it. But are the goodies at the end of the day? That's $13 billion.
Yeah, well, it's a $1 million question. There's no free lunch in diplomacy and international relations.
Yes.
Every nation has its goals and national interests to pursue. You know, it's become a habit now that it is Korean African Summit, is Indian African Summit, is French Africans. I look forward to a time when it will be Africa-French Summit.
Indeed.
The reverse of it.
Indeed.
One day I hope it will come.
Fantastic. And we have China Daily there. Ascender lifts off with lunar samples. Historic Change 6 mission to Moon's far side completes most important task. As you can see it here, China's Change 6 robotic probe completed the most important part of its lunar adventure on Tuesday morning, when its ascender, carrying samples collected over 2 decades in a sealed container, lifted off from the Moon's far side. The ascender, one of the 4 major components of the unmanned spacecraft, started its ascent engine at 7:38 a.m. and flew for about 6 minutes before reaching lunar orbit, according to the China National Space Administration. And you can see, right, looking like a thing of magic here, right? And that is the ascender. Just to give you pictures there, clockwise, of course, from top, a combination of Change 6 lander and ascender captured on Monday on the far side of the Moon by a mobile camera. The photo was transmitted back to Earth by the camera, which was carried to the Moon by Change 6. You can read the rest of the details inside the publication. Also, President Xi congratulates next leaders of Mexico and Iceland. President Xi, that is Xi Jinping, has congratulated Claudia Sheinbaum as climate scientist and former Mexico mayor on her election as Mexico's president, saying he is ready to work with the president-elect to boost bilateral ties. In a congratulatory message sent to her on Tuesday, she noted that Mexico is a major country in Latin America, an important emerging market. And you can read the rest of the details also inside the publication today. All right, also he congratulated Hala Tomasdottir on her election as president of Ireland as well. She said in the message that in recent years, China-Iceland relations have maintained good development momentum. Right. So this is also for Ireland is the first with a female president?
Yeah,
for Iceland.
Sure. Yeah.
For Iceland as well.
Yes. The ladies are now making it big, which is encouraging. And, we look forward to seeing many more ladies around the world to destroy the myth that it's a man's world, number one. And two is perhaps we'll have a new breather for new ways of doing things, hopefully, when ladies are in church. So we expect quite a bit from this apparent change that is occurring. We look forward when the United States will have a female president for the first time in over 2 centuries now. Well, there's a lot of expectations from these changes that are happening around the world, particularly giving of women a chance for the first time. Africa, we have tried quite a few cases, but I think Asia is leading. It's a point where in Pakistan, in India, in Bangladesh, in Philippines, the single most important individual was actually were women as presidents or prime ministers. So there is a way in which actually Asia is ahead of even countries in the West in terms of giving women a chance. You know, Pakistan had a female prime minister long before America could have a female president. You know, only in Europe is Germany and Britain, with the long-serving Margaret Thatcher and the German Chancellor who has just left the scene. It's a very promising world, particularly for the ladies. Yeah.
All right, we want to introduce also Peter Kagwanja. You've just made Ken Obongi to lose his track of thought, or I don't know. Good morning, good to see you. How are you?
Thank you. Ken Obongi is my brother.
Yes.
So I can't lose a train of thought because I've entered the house.
Good to see you. Today you didn't make it on time. I like you.
I had to pass through the office for an emergency.
There was an emergency in the morning.
Yeah, because there's something that needed to go by 8. And I know I'll be here up to 9.
Ah, okay, okay. Good to see you. We missed you last week as well.
Yes. Last week I traveled to Mombasa. Again on an assignment. You know, this is the part of the year which is a little bit challenging because of finishing a few things here. But I'm here.
Right, good to see you. A lot that we have to talk about. We're just giving a gist of it also, and just picking also Dr. Ken Obongi's brains as well. But let's see the stories of a day where tension flared high at Kawangware police post earlier yesterday, as the residents engaged police in running battles following the mysterious death of a 25-year-old while in police custody. For a moment, the police cell ironically became a crime scene as the affected family sought answers. Police have, however, refuted claims that he died in their hands. KTN's senior reporter Francis Ontomwa starts us off.
Scenes of chaos outside Kawangware police post. These residents are seeking answers following the death of 25-year-old Hussein Koropisa Bacho, known to many here as a car wash operator. He was arrested on Monday afternoon but died mysteriously later. The family insists he died in custody, but police deny the allegations.
Tunataka haki, na tunataka haki ya mnyonge, na tunataka huyo kijana yetu tupewe, hata kama ni maiti yetu tuende tukazike na haki ya mnyonge ipatikane.
Yeye ni kijana mdogo, anategemea life yake. Mamake sasa anamtegemea. Mimi hajanifurahisha by the way.
Dagoretti OCPD Kivindu Kilonzo told KTN that Hussein died at Kenyatta National Hospital moments after the arrest. The police chief further claims that they rescued him from a mob that had attacked him earlier.
Ati amejinyonga tena, polisi naye pia anatuambia ati ni mob justice. Unajua tuelewi, tunashangaa.
These residents say police brutality is not a new phenomenon. John Goge is showing me injuries he sustained from a similar experience.
Nilikuwa nakunywa pombe na mimi nakunywa pombe, ile kubishana nikadiweka garage. After kukaa mwezi na wiki mbili ndio tulipatana, akanishika akanifunga pingu. Baada ya kunifunga pingu ndio alienda kunipigia, hata kunileta station, anaenda kunipigia kwa klabu nyingine hapo mbele. Akanitoa yenye nilikuwa nakunywa.
Elsewhere in Machakos, a tout is believed to have committed suicide inside a makeshift cell after he was arrested by Machakos County Inspectorate at the county's bus terminus, and the incident has sparked fire.
Ni hasla kawaida, kijana hufanya kazi kwa bidii, kazi ya makanga katika bus park ya Machakos, ambaye amekuwa akihangaishwa mara kwa mara na askari wetu wa Kanjo.
We as a county government have interdicted the officer who was involved in this pending investigations.
Back in Kawangware, and the agony is not fading away anytime soon.
The police post behind me is now a scene of crime. And with so much up in the air, the police giving their own account and the family theirs, perhaps only an autopsy report could offer some answers. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Kawangware, Nairobi.
Meanwhile, Ian Ngige Njoroge, the motorist captured on camera assaulting a traffic officer, has been arraigned facing 6 charges, including robbery with violence. Njoroge refuted all allegations leveled against him. He is set to return to court today for bail application, hearing for the first 3 charges. And in an exclusive with the KTN investigation desk, Ian's mother has opened up a whole new story claiming that the altercation was necessitated by a purported demand of 10,000 shillings bribe. Our very own investigative reporter, Odi Francis, has that story.
The 19-year-old Ian Ngige Njoroge became a subject of public discourse over the weekend after his violent encounter with a traffic officer on Mirema Drive, Kasarani, Nairobi County. Today, he stood before the court on 6 counts, including robbery with violence, robbing off the officer's communication device battery, and a Samsung phone valued at 50,000 shillings. Additionally, charges were leveled against him for resisting arrest and inflicting injuries on Officer Jacob Ogendo. Njoroge maintained his innocence on all the 6 counts before Senior Principal Magistrate Ben Makehubi and Martha Nanzoshi.
So I'll not grant them the 3 days they assault, I'll grant them only 1 day. He should be accompanied by a parent, and also at all times he should be given access to his counsel, so that we can curtail or stop any form of an injustice towards it, or infringement of his rights. So then he will be remanded at the industrial area.
The viral footage shows Ian Ngige Njoroge launching an attack on a traffic police officer, delivering a series of punches and kicks on Mirema Drive in Kasarani. Shortly thereafter, he faced Judge Martha Nanzushi on 3 separate traffic-related charges, including causing obstruction, overloading his vehicle, and defying a government official's directive.
To give us a bond of 100,000 shillings, one purity, a similar amount. The alternative gives a cash bill of 60,000 shillings.
Njoroge's legal team, including Duncan Okach and Lempaso Yinka, argue that their client was mishandled during his apprehension.
But they actually molested him in his own house, in the house of the mother, that he fainted 2 times at that particular house. Your Honor, at the police station, he went through an ordeal of beating.
KTN News managed to interview Njoroge's mother, who contends that the portrayal of her son on the internet is a stark contrast to reality.
I was so heartbroken. And all I saw was flying squad cars outside my gate. And in shock, I went inside and I found policemen folding my boy down. And when I asked why they are folding him down, they showed me a video and told me, your boy is a murderer, he's a robber, he wanted to kill this man is in the ICU, and he's very sick.
Njoroge, employed by his uncle, allegedly flaunted traffic regulations while driving his mother's car at the Mirema Drive, where he had ventured out with friends.
He told me he was asked for 10,000, which he didn't have. He told the police he can raise 5, and he refused even that 5.
His mother asserts that her son is well behaved and that an extraordinary circumstance must have provoked the incident captured on video.
Something must have happened to that boy to make him that agitated. Because for the longest, because he's my son, I have never seen him angry to that level. He's very friendly with his brothers and sisters, very obedient to me.
Known among his peers and family, Ian attended Sunshine Boys High School before joining the prestigious Kenya Technical College TUK to pursue civil engineering, currently in his first year. An avid football enthusiast, Ian is also recognized for his culinary skills at home.
Speaking from like a mother who has been hurting, one, because of seeing how the boy has trended in a negative way. I want to apologize first of all and say what he did was not right. He was not supposed to beat that man. And I agree, and I already told him that was wrong. But at the same time, Kenyans, please, it is very wrong to say things that you don't know. How can you say he was arrested at his girlfriend's house? Am I his girlfriend? I'm his mother.
He is slated for a medical evaluation while awaiting his next court appearance on Wednesday.
Police must handle Ian's case just like any other case. And they must not intimidate the family or come up with fake charges because a police officer was involved. We are asking that IPOA comes and joins themselves into this matter and follows through, because we see elements of complacency. We see elements of cover-up. We see the intention of the police to put up trumped-up charges against Ian as a way of punishment. We are saying that the police can only do what the law allows them to do and allow other institutions of justice to take up the matter in their own level.
Ode Francis, KTN News, Nairobi.
President William Ruto has secured 60 billion shillings concessional loan from South Korea to bolster the digital ecosystem and expand opportunities for the youth in Kenya. The loan comes 2 days after Ruto announced a 2.6 billion shillings support by Kenya to the African Development Fund. This was the largest contribution by an African country to the fund. While in Seoul, South Korea, the head of state who addressed the inaugural Korea-Africa Summit underscored the critical role Korea can play in the transformation of Africa. The summit, whose theme is "The Future We Make Together, Shared Growth, Sustainability and Solidarity," was hosted by President Yoon Suk Yeol at the Korea International Exhibition Center in Goyan.
Your Excellencies, thank you very much for your cooperation for the group photo.
Therefore, it is important that this summit will point the way to the future for initiatives like the K-Rise Korea program, of which Kenya is an active participant, to be extended across Africa. Such programs are not just about enhancing production, but are also about building capacity and transferring technology to promote sustainability and resilience, especially in the light of escalating threat of global climate change. Secondly, I'm optimistic that a primary area of focus in our deliberations shall be science and technology. To be effective and sustainable, a repositioned partnership between Korea and Africa must be intentional in harnessing the potential of the fourth industrial revolution. Without a doubt, Korea's impressive advancement of ICT, and especially in the fields of robotics, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing, can enhance Africa's capacity to undertake successful economic transformation.
Now, the National Assembly resumed sittings that was yesterday for the second part of the third session after a short recess. A packed agenda awaits lawmakers with consideration of key bills, including the Finance Bill 2024, that has elicited mixed reactions, and Division of Revenue Bill 2024. This as the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill sailed through second reading. Besides passing the bill, MPs also debated a motion on inquiry into maize flour subsidy program for the financial year 2022.
When you look at what the president had in mind in terms of this program, there was a lot of distortion in terms of the implementers not adhering to the policy issues. Honorable Speaker, even what catches my eye, Honorable Speaker, is the issue when it came to matters of payment, Honorable Speaker.
I am privy to information that the Education Committee of this House has already made some declaration or some directive that the Ministry of Education withdraws all university admissions on account of conflicts or anomalies in the amount of fees that students are supposed to pay for various courses. Honorable Speaker, this state of affairs obviously paints a picture of serious confusion in the universities and colleges education sector.
In addition, honorable members, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury will make a public pronouncement of the budget policy highlights and revenue-raising measures for the national government for the financial year 2024-25 on Thursday, 13th June 2024 in the National Assembly Chamber, starting at 3 p.m.
Now, the National Council of Churches of Kenya has asked leaders to put aside their political differences and deliver to Kenyans who elected them. The umbrella body saying time for political campaigns is yet to come, saying they should instead focus on service delivery. Through the newly elected chairman of the council, Dr. Alphonse Kanga, NCCK has also called for a thorough study and review of the Finance Bill 2024, saying the government must listen to Kenyans' wishes.
We call upon His Excellency Dr. William Ruto and Deputy President His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua to end the bickering between their supporters as it is threatening to split the country. Please just stop it and let's concentrate on why we were elected and serve our Kenyan community. Finance bill is for all Kenyans. Whatever name you are giving them, that name you are giving them, they are Kenyans, and we think they should all be accepted to deliver their memorandum because they are Kenyans, they have interest. Finance bill is going to be for them, and it will benefit them, and it will benefit all Kenyans. What's our stand? Every Kenyan is allowed to present his memorandum on that, his argument, his thought line, so that it can be received and look at it and agree that this is our finance bill, not a different country finance bill.
All right, the ongoing debate on Muguka, and more leaders from the coast have come out to support the ban on use and trade in Muguka plant. A section of leaders from the northern Kenya have also blamed the Muguka for the rise in security and want it banned altogether. Catherine Muraget has more.
Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta counties have already banned the use and trade of Muguka, sparking protests from residents where the plant is grown in Embu County. The ban has already been temporarily suspended by a court in Embu. But the debate on Muguka continues, with more leaders from northeastern Kenya coming out today to support the ban on Muguka. Fafi MP Salah Yakub claims that Mira and Muguka stimulants have largely contributed to insecurity, bedeviling the region, and therefore should be completely banned.
One of the most recruiting stimulant, one of the most recruiting stipend to terrorists is Mira and Muguka, because they are given money by Al-Shabaab. They are given money, they are bought for them, they buy for them Muguka, giving them because it's cheaper. They buy and they are recruited to become one of the terrorists. So Muguka and terrorism are the same. So if you want to stop terrorism, then you have to stop Muguka. If you want to stop hash, then you have to stop Muguka.
And he is not alone. Some leaders from Taita Taveta County have also joined the rest of the coast region leaders who have backed the total ban on Muguka. The leaders have regretted a move by President William Ruto to fund Muguka farmers with 5 million shillings. They vowed to stand firm behind their coast region governors, religious leaders, and other groups in ensuring Muguka will not get into the coast region due to a social effect on youth. Taita Taveta County has begun collecting public views on the ban on the plant.
Watoto wanakula majani kama wanyama. Na sijui kama kweli yule ambaye anataka kuuza haya majani kama ni mtoto wake yeye mwenyewe angependa kuona anakula vitu kama hizo.
Elsewhere in Parliament, a section of MPs from the larger Meru today came to the defense of miraa trade, saying the plant is a legalized crop. Catherine Imroget, KTN News.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi says the oversight function of Parliament plays a big role as a cornerstone of democracy. Mudavadi said the oversight provides the means to hold the country's executive accountable for all its actions, as well as ensuring alignment with legislative business and the aspirations of the people of Kenya. The Prime CS was speaking at the retreat of a Senate Liaison Committee on Tuesday. He thanked President William Ruto for establishing a structure that promotes institutional linkages between the executive and both houses of Parliament.
So evolution, we want to say we have seen the difference evolution has made in service delivery, and we all do support the programs that are being run through enabling legislation.
I want to congratulate our mediation committee from the Senate, who managed to have the county government's equitable share increased to 400.1 billion shillings.
Perhaps within the framework of legislation, a mechanism can then be put through so that corruption prevention committees from all counties, whether Vihiga, Bungoma, Meru, Samburu, wherever, that there's a format of these reports reaching the Senate so that they can be deliberated and one can try and focus and see whether really there's a serious attempt to fight against corruption.
Now, the new funding model for higher education has faced scrutiny from the National Assembly Committee on Education, which has raised concerns about its effectiveness, potentially jeopardizing its implementation. The model, introduced in September last year, involves providing financial support to government students based on their level of need.
The National Assembly Committee on Education expressed skepticism about the new university funding model, highlighting that the parameters used to calculate the mean score are flawed and vulnerable approach for determining funding allocations. These funds rank students into 5 bands that reflect their financial ability and the need they require to pay fees. The most needy are in band 1 and the least needy are in band 5.
Parameters you have used for validation, I am sorry, you cannot have authentic results from these independent variables.
How will you know the poverty index of County X, Y, and Z? I know you want to tell us maybe about KNBS, which is not neither here or there. The NHIF, how? Thousands of Kenyans, that has been known statistically. Less than 10% of Kenyans are in NHIF. So majority of them, these figures of yours are not adding up.
The committee also questioned the criteria employed for allocating scholarship and loans, raising concerns about the fairness of the selection process. This comes in the wake of at least 9,726 students appealing for additional funding, with only 42% of the appeals being successful, while 58% were unsuccessful.
A student in band 1, 569 in number, applied to be considered to be moved. Of course, they know they're in band 1, to be moved. What does that say? All that those students are saying is that 5% they cannot afford. How can they be assisted?
When we went round to the universities, one of those universities was able to demonstrate to us that the mean testing instrument was not watertight. and there were errors.
The committee found the ambiguity surrounding the fee structure as many Kenyans were unable to accurately interpret the exact amount they were supposed to pay. The committee directed the Permanent Secretary of Education to withdraw the released fee structure and provide a more detailed breakdown to clarify the specific cost involved.
Make sure you solve this time, that the parent is going to get a fee structure indicating the household name. And if you have given out fee structures that have figures of 500, 300, then COOPs and the other universities have to recall those ones before the students report in September.
Coinciding with these developments, the Kenya University and College Central Placement Service, COOPS, is preparing to open its portal application tomorrow for students seeking to transfer between university or within the same institution.
The system tomorrow, 5th of June, to allow students to transfer, so they have adequate time before they can go in September.
And Musungu, KTN News, Nairobi.
Now, the Council of Governors is raising a red flag over an alleged plot to sneak back the health function to the national government through what they term as well-calculated smear campaign to paint the devolved unit as inept. Consequently, the county bosses have also faulted the national government for allegedly denying them their equitable share revenue a few days to the end of the 2023-2024 financial year, which they say is hampering service delivery. Innocent Ogaro has more.
Led by COG Health Committee Chairperson and Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki, the governors questioned the motive behind the push. Yet it is the national government that has not released the required resources to counties.
If the Treasury was giving counties their money as is stated in the law on the 15th of every month, I can assure you that there is no county that will be having any debt to KEMSA by the end of each month. And therefore, I urge the Treasury to release the funds for the counties, all that is owed to them, and I would ask the KEMSA to check their accounts at the end of the month when that money has been released.
According to Governor Njuki, the talks around the debts owed by counties to KEMSA had the hallmarks of a well-thought-out and executed scheme keen on painting counties in bad light.
The counties usually pay their debts to KEMSA depending on the age of the debt. And it's also important to note that there is no county that usually buys from KEMSA upfront. It's always a debt, and therefore there's nothing wrong with having a debt. The problem is when the debt accumulates beyond the 90 days.
As it stands now, counties have not received their equitable share from the national government for 3 months, including June. Yet the IFMI system reportedly slows down from the mid-June.
You need also to support our efforts to collect more taxes and more revenues and to make sure that everybody pays. The counties should be able to help us because that way we can be able to collect more.
There has been a clamor by some officials at the national government to take over the health function and manage it from Nairobi, as was before the advent of the 2010 constitution, but governors have stayed put, variously expressing gains made under devolution.
We have had a long discussion over the division of revenue. The Council of Governors was asking for about 425 billion shillings. The Commission of Revenue Allocation was proposing 407 billion, while the National Treasury was proposing to upgrade from the current 370 billion to 380 billion. We have not been able to reach a decision.
Governor Njuki further noted that counties will clear debts owed to KEMSA immediately after they receive their share of revenue, but the COG also reminded the national government to settle the 2 billion Kenyan shillings pledge to KEMSA to capacitate the medical agency. Innocent Ogaro, KTN News, Nairobi.
All right, we want to take a short break right now. looking at the editorial cartoons, Africa Summit, which way to go? Russia, Korea, France, USA, with a pail in hand. That is Africa for us. And this is what has been captured today by Victor in the Daily Nation. The Standard, we have Jambi Koikai paying tribute to her, journalist who passed on yesterday, 1986-2024. May the good Lord rest her soul in peace. And wish the family our deepest sympathy and sincere condolences. And also we have the finance bill, a contentious one, as it is being debated right now, or will be debated in the National Assembly. The resumption of Parliament was yesterday, so they have their intro full, and also this will be one of the ticket issue or a catnip issue as well in the National Assembly. And also the Mount Kenya succession, Be Strong There Is Hope, 2023 succession, looking at the crowning Mount Kenya as a kingpin, who will be the person right now that is drawing a lot of flack within UDA as it is also. And we can see Wanjiku is the one who is saddled with the politicians' burden there, right? Instead of focusing on development, as we can see from the counties and other dailies, we have paltry amounts being distributed to the counties, or paltry amount being devolved to development. Developments have spent a paltry 45 billion shillings on development. Only one has spent 50% and above of its development budget in 9 months. And that's a problem question. Are we politicking so much at the expense of development? That's another problem question. We want to take a short break right now. When we circle back, of course, we shall